Hello, you must be Mrs. Davenport. I'm Jason Williams.
Jason, hi. How are you?
Great, thanks. I'm really excited to start working with your firm.
Good. We're glad to have you. Let me show you around. Obviously, this is the back office.
This is where I'll be working, right?
That's right. All the bookkeepers work here.
So can I get started now?
Well, first you need to check in with the accounting manager. I'll introduce you.
Don, could you look at this for me?
Sure, what is it?
Well, I checked these numbers twice, but they still seem wrong. I'm not sure why.
Let's see. 3,500 over 700 is 5.
Right. And then I multiplied each entry by 5.
Oh, I see the problem. You weren't supposed to divide 3,500 by 700.
Are you sure?
Yes, you need to multiply them.
Mega Office Supply, how may I help you?
Hi, this is Stacy from Equity Accounts. There's a problem with order number 626.
Sorry to hear that. What's the problem?
You sent 13 desk lamps, but we ordered 30.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. What did you say?
I said we received 13 desk lamps, but we ordered 30.
I see. Well, I apologize for the error. We'll ship the rest today.
Thank you.
Thanks for the recommendations. They all look good except for one.
Which one is that?
It's the floppy drive. I mean, why do I need a floppy drive?
Well, some of your clients might have computers that use them.
I don't know anyone that still uses those.
Okay, you could just go with a CD-ROM drive.
I think most people use flash drives.
That's true, but some people still use CD-ROMs.
Do you have a moment, Mr. Smith?
Certainly, Nancy. What can I help you with?
One question. How do I collect the source documents?
Actually, you don't collect them.
Really? How do I get them?
The department managers give them to you at the end of every month.
Ah, I see. And then I just input the data in the accounting software.
That's right. Record the data from the source documents in the accounting software.
Did you read the memo this morning?
You mean the one that says we have to follow both GAAP and IASB?
Yes. Why do we have to follow both?
Well, both have advantages and disadvantages.
Like what?
GAAP has clear instructions, but it is restrictive. IASB is flexible, but it can be inconsistent.
Why not just pick one method to use?
Well, we have clients in both the USA and Europe. It's better to use both systems that they are familiar with.
Hi, Peter. Would you like some coffee?
No, thanks. Let's get right down to business.
Okay. Have you seen the latest P&L?
No, I haven't. What's the problem?
Look at this. Our bottom line has really dropped. Just compare this to last year.
I see. Sales revenue is way down, but cost of goods sold is the same.
So, what can we do?
Well, first we need to improve our sales.
Excuse me, but we have a problem.
What's that?
I was looking at this month's balance sheet. Our accounts payable shows that we owe $15,000.
Why is that a problem?
Well, we only have $10,000 in the bank.
I see. We have to borrow some money to pay the difference.
Isn't it a bad idea to take on more debt?
No. Our accounts receivable shows $15,000. We can use that to pay off some debt next month.
Hi, David. Could I talk to you for a second?
Sure. What's up?
Well, our income statement shows a net income of $200,000.
That sounds about right.
But the cash flow statement shows only $100,000 generated from sales.
Oh. Well, the cash flow statement only counts cumulative cash. The actual cash we spend and receive.
So, are you telling me that we haven't received some of the payments on our accounts receivable?
Exactly. But our accounts receivable should make up for it by next month.
Here's the sales report, Mr. Porter.
Ah, yes, thank you. Wow. Sales revenue really plummeted in April.
Yes, it did. I'm not sure why.
Well, it was mostly a result of our price increases.
That makes sense. But why did sales increase so much from October to December?
Well, that's the holiday season.
Yes, but I've never seen sales go that high. What else caused it?
It's probably due to Mike's toy shop going out of business. They were major competition.
Here's my weekly sales report.
Wonderful, thank you.
I'm curious. Why do we have to keep such detailed records?
Because they help us assess the company's health. Why do you ask?
Well, it slows me down. I'd rather spend time selling than doing paperwork.
I know what you mean. It takes time to do paperwork, but it's worth it.
How so?
Accurate records help us see if anything is eating away at our profits.
First Venture Bank. How may I help you?
Hi, this is Wendy from Capital Incorporated. I just received an overdraft notice from you.
I can help you with that. What is your account number?
It's 58756. We have a second account with you as well.
Let me see. Your company's other account has a balance of $1,000.
Good. Can I transfer $500 into the overdrawn account?
Certainly. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Did you hear about Smithson Technologies?
No, did something happen to them?
They're getting sued.
Really? I hadn't heard that. Why?
The lawsuit says they were dumping. It doesn't surprise me. Their prices seem too low.
Personally, I think it's great when a company can offer a decent product for less money.
But if they're selling below cost, it's against the pricing laws.
I see your point. Maybe they were trying to drive their competitors out of business.
How are you today, Mr. Jackson?
I'm good. Could you clarify something for me?
Sure. What is it?
Well, I have no idea what value-added tax is.
It's like sales tax. When a company sells materials or parts to another, they pay a tax.
So, does that apply to my company?
No, you only do business in the United States, which hasn't adopted a value-added tax yet.
Oh, I see. So that's not something I need to worry about.
Hello, Tony. What can I do for you?
Well, I just bought a new air conditioner. Is it an expense or a depreciable asset?
An air conditioner? That's a depreciable asset.
Okay, so I need to account for depreciation to keep my books accurate.
Right. Which depreciation schedule do you want to use?
I don't know. I want something simple and easy.
How about using the straight line method? That's the simplest.
That sounds good to me.
Hello, Ms. Wilson. I'm Jason Tate. Today is my first day.
Hi, Jason. Welcome aboard. Let me show you around.
Great. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. Now, our back office is divided into different accounting departments.
Okay. Which one do you work in?
Well, I usually work in payroll, but I sometimes help the other departments.
I would love to work in payroll. That was my favorite accounting task in school.
Well, that's possible. We like to place people where they're comfortable.
Where do new hires usually start?
Well, actually, we train them in all departments.
Oh, so I'll be working in each of them.
Right. Once you get a feel for things, we'll give you a regular assignment.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm talking to accountant Todd Weston.
Hello, Linda. Thanks for having me.
So, Todd, let's talk about a guiding principle of accounting, objectivity.
Okay, well, objectivity means that accountants must be unbiased.
Aha, what do you mean by that?
Let's say I work for a company. How about Infinite Time?
Infinite Time. That's the watchmaking company, right?
That's right, they...
You know, sorry to interrupt, I'm wearing an Infinite Time watch.
I see that. It's very nice. Now, I can't allow my opinions about Infinite Time to affect how I keep their records.
Like if you said the company is worth more than it is because you like their watches.
Exactly. That would be my opinion. But it wouldn't be objective.
Hi. You must be Travis King.
I am. Thank you for calling me in today.
OK, let's get started. I have your resume. It says you were a controller for 4 years.
I was at Benjamin Landon Associates.
And how did you like it?
It was a good job. I left to go back to school and get a master's degree.
I see. So tell me, what do you think are your strengths?
Honesty and integrity. I take my work seriously and expect the same from others.
OK. And what are your major weaknesses?
I haven't designed a full accounting system yet.
You didn't do that at your previous controller job?
No, they had a system in place that they really liked, so I just followed that.
Hey, Randy, did you see the balance on our cash account?
I did. I'm glad we have so much cash in reserve.
Really? Don't you think it's excessive?
Well, no. I think we need that liquidity in case something unexpected happens.
What are you thinking of?
Well, I heard that one of our competitors' sales are plummeting. Maybe we can buy them out.
I see your point. But in my opinion, it's not good to have that much cash sitting around.
You think it's unproductive?
Exactly. Why not invest it in something that will generate revenue?
The way I see it, it's better to be conservative and prepared for unexpected expenses.
Well, at least we don't have a zero cash balance.
Yes, that would be really bad.
Good morning, Ms. Davidson. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I have some questions about your company.
OK. I'd be happy to answer them.
I see that you value your company at $1 million.
Right. That's what we hope to get from selling it.
But you only have sales of $500,000 per year. Why do you think the company's worth $1 million?
We have a lot of intangible assets.
Really? Like what?
Well, our company has been at this location for almost 100 years.
That's worth something, but in my opinion, it's not worth $500,000.
No, but there are other intangibles like our human capital and our loyal customers.
I need some time to think about this.
Hello, Tara. Did you get my memo this morning?
I did. We reviewed it during our board meeting.
What did you think?
I'm impressed. We've never had such a huge increase in a profit centre.
I know. We really got lucky in 2010.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by that?
I mean that we couldn't plan something like that.
Why not? I think the managers made a great decision raising the price.
They did. The wholesalers were making huge profits, and we needed to get some of that for ourselves.
Can we apply that principle to other divisions?
We can, but they wouldn't have such a huge increase in EBIT unless another supplier lowered their prices.
Ah, I see what you mean about luck. We can't predict when that might happen.
Hello, Jennifer.
Hi, Tom. You look so serious. What's up?
Well, I just found out we have a major problem with inventory fraud.
Really? How do you know?
I compared the actual inventory to what is recorded in our general ledger. We're missing a lot of inventory.
Oh, no. Do you think some employees are pilfering?
That doesn't seem to be the problem. I think some of the suppliers have been short shipping.
OK. What do you think we should do about it?
How about having someone match every receiving report with the purchase orders?
That's a good idea. And we can also have the receiving clerks notify us of any shipments that are short of product.
That sounds good to me. I'll write a new policy memo about the purchase orders.
All right. I'll set up a meeting with the receiving clerks.
Hi, Andrew. How's it going?
Good. The new business opens next week.
Wonderful. So you wanted to talk about accounting methods?
Yes. I'm not sure if I should use cash basis or accrual basis accounting.
OK, well, cash basis accounting is good for tracking cash flow.
That makes sense. It's because you only record transactions when cash is exchanged, right?
Exactly. But accrual basis accounting is better for matching revenues and expenses.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there are delays with cash flow. You might make a sale but not receive cash for a month.
Oh, I see. But with accrual basis accounting, I could record that transaction immediately.
That's right. So what do you think?
Well, I'd rather keep an eye on cash flow. Let's use cash basis accounting.
Gary, could you help me with these expense accounts?
Sure, Vicky, what's up?
I need to know how to account for bonuses.
You mean the bonuses we pay to executives and salespeople?
Right. We don't pay them until the end of the year, so how do I know how much they will be?
Well, you don't actually have to know. I can give you estimates.
How do you estimate them?
I use the amounts of last year's bonuses as a guide.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But the amounts vary every year, right?
They do. The estimates won't be exactly accurate, but that's not a problem.
So then, how do I record them?
You need to record them in the accrued expenses payable account.
Good afternoon, Mr. Foster. What can I do for you?
Well, I met with a banker yesterday and got a loan offer.
That's great. What are the terms?
The fees and interest rate are really low.
Good. Now, will the interest be tax deductible?
It will. The only negative is that they said something about renegotiating the terms in 5 years.
Oh, that's not a good thing.
No, but all the other details are great.
Are there penalties for paying it off early?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention that. There are. But I don't plan to pay it off early, so it's okay.
Well, what if your business really takes off and you want to get rid of some debt?
That's a good point. Maybe I should shop around.
Did you see my report on last year's expenses?
I did. We really had a huge increase in overall variable expenses, didn't we?
Yes, we did. How do you feel about that?
Well, most of it is pretty standard stuff, but the advertising, how could it go up so much?
Yeah, that's a pretty sharp increase.
No kidding. From $10,000 to $30,000, that's huge.
Well, TV advertising is expensive, but it boosts sales.
That's true. I think the additional revenue covered the expense.
It did. And it generated enough profit that we were able to increase our charitable contributions.
That's always good for public relations.
So, do you think we'll be offering executive bonuses again next year?
I think so. It seems to have worked.
Hi, Erin. Have you been able to finish the end-of-period procedures yet?
I'm almost done. I should have your report for you by tomorrow morning.
Great. Thanks for your help. How does it look?
Well, it looks good for the most part.
Uh-oh. Is something wrong?
Maybe. See, you have a really big receivable account for one of your customers.
Have they not been making payments?
No, they've only made one payment this entire period.
Is it Thompson and Nash Distributing?
Yes. I'm not saying they are going to stiff you. I'm just saying it's out of the ordinary.
Actually, I talked to their CFO last week. Their payments were delayed because of an accounting error.
Oh, I see. That's a relief.
So, Tim, have you thought about which accounting software we should get?
Well, I'm thinking about getting PBL Unlimited.
I haven't used PBL Unlimited. I like the virtual accountant, though.
This advertisement says PBL Unlimited has some really useful features.
But the virtual accountant is really easy to use. It has tutorials on almost every topic.
That's cool, but I think it's designed for homes, not businesses.
You don't think it would work for the business?
Well, I would prefer to get something with more features.
What features does PBL Unlimited have?
Oh, it has everything. It has inventory tracking, data mining, and a lot more.
It would be good to have a program that allows a lot of users too.
Yeah, and PBL Unlimited allows up to 50.
Excuse me, Miss Carter, could you look at this income statement I drafted?
Sure, Nathan. Let's have a look.
Thanks. I want to make sure I got it right.
What's this line under expenses? Is that severance packages?
Yes, it is. Those are from when we downsized 2 months ago.
Yes, I remember. We had several layoffs. But you can't report those as regular expenses.
Really? Why not?
Well, if you do, people will see those major losses as a regular expense.
So how do you account for them?
Well, at the bottom of the statement, put another section called Extraordinary Gains and Losses.
Okay, so do I record anything that doesn't happen regularly in that section?
Exactly. See? You're getting it.
Hey, Anna, did you read that article I gave you?
Yes, I did. I can't believe some people think profit is unethical.
Actually, I think they might have a good point.
What? Why would you say that?
Well, you know, sometimes businesses exploit their employees.
Yeah, maybe that happens once in a while, but not very often.
Some people get upset because they see wealthy owners with employees who live barely above the poverty line.
But the owners deserve more profit because they have more risk.
What do you mean by that?
Think about losses. Who has to pay when a business suffers a loss?
Well, obviously, the owner does.
So, since they are at risk, they deserve to earn more.
Hello, Lillian. Can I talk to you about our financial reports?
Okay, was there a problem?
No, I'm just having trouble understanding some parts of them.
Oh, I know what you mean. We accountants kind of have our own language.
Could you explain to me how you set up this income statement?
Absolutely. You notice there are no minus signs?
Yes, that's one of the things that bothered me.
Well, I've shown all instances where we subtract by putting the number in parentheses.
Oh, I see that now.
Okay, so another thing you might have noticed is that we don't give a lot of details on the entries.
Is that why I just see one line for sales revenue?
Exactly. We don't break it up into direct sales, retail sales, etc. We just report the sum of all sales.
Okay, that makes sense. But you know, I don't see profit anywhere on this report.
Oh, it's there on the bottom, the double underlined figure.
That says earnings. Is that the same as profit?
Yes, we don't usually use the term profit.
Hello, Karen. Could I talk to you about those reports that you submitted last week?
Sure. Is there a problem?
Well, I'm not sure. A couple things caught my eye, but I'm not sure how to interpret them.
Okay, I'll see if I can help.
Great. On the balance sheet, I noticed that our debt is almost twice what it was last period.
Right. That's because we took a short-term loan to cover some unexpected expenses.
Oh, that's right. Still, I'm a little worried about it.
Are you thinking we should clean it up?
Maybe. Do you think we'll be able to pay those debts?
Let's see. We can calculate our working capital. That'll give us a good idea.
Okay. Is that a complicated formula?
Not at all. Just subtract current liabilities from current assets.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
It looks like our assets are still about 3 times our liabilities.
Great. That makes me feel better. How should we start paying off our debt?
We should try to collect our accounts receivable and use those funds to pay our debts.
Hi, Randall. What are you working on?
I'm reviewing the books for Harris Donaldson Consulting. Have you seen these?
Oh, yeah, I have. There's some weird stuff in there.
No kidding. I'm looking through Mr. Donaldson's expenses.
What did you find?
Well, there was an entry for amusement park tickets.
Amusement park tickets? Seriously? How can you possibly justify that as a business expense?
You can't. And didn't he say something about going to an amusement park during his vacation?
He did. He's obviously using the business to write off personal expenses.
And he's just begging to get caught. You know what they say? Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
That's right. So did you find any entries that looked false?
Well, there was this one for office supplies.
So what? Every business buys office supplies.
Yeah, but this entry was about 7 times bigger than all the past office supply purchases.
Whoa. So either he's buying a few years' worth of office supplies, or
he's making a false entry to cover something up.
Hank Belly, can I help you?
Hi, Hank. This is Vanessa Moore.
Hi, Vanessa. Did you get my email?
I did, thank you. Can I get your opinion on a specific company I've been looking at?
Sure. Tell me a little bit about it. What do they do?
Well, it's a manufacturing company called Essential Products Manufacturing.
Okay, how do its numbers look?
Well, I calculated its current ratio with that formula you sent me. It was 1.45.
That's disappointing. It's pretty low.
Really? Another accountant told me it's not necessarily bad if the current ratio is below 2.
Well, in some cases it's not. But just remember, the ratio shows the company's ability to pay its debts.
So the lower the number, the more risk of not paying debts and going bankrupt?
Yes, exactly. A higher ratio means a stronger, more stable company.
So what do you think I should do?
I think you should consider looking at a different company.
OK. Thanks for your help.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for helping me set up my books.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. Let's start by listing your direct and indirect costs.
Direct and indirect costs? I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand.
Well, direct costs are tied directly to a product or service.
OK. Can you give me an example?
Your company makes paperclips, right? The cost of the metal is a direct cost.
So then, what would be an indirect cost?
Let's see. Do you own your manufacturing plant?
No, I rent it.
Well, your rent is not based on how many paperclips you manufacture. It's an indirect cost.
Oh, I see. So, how should I account for these different types of costs?
It's easy with the direct costs. Just pair them with the money that you get from selling your products.
Right. But what about the indirect costs? Someone told me there's a method called ABC. What is that?
It's a way to allocate indirect costs as production costs.
Can you show me how to do that?
Well, it's pretty complicated. Let me explain.
I could really use your help with the new budget.
No problem. I'm happy to help.
Our last budget was so complicated. Honestly, I'm not sure where to start with this one.
As complicated as it seems, we just have to follow a few basic steps.
What are those steps?
Well, the first thing we need to do is look at our sales forecasts.
Okay, that's easy. We just discussed them at our last meeting.
All right. Next, let's look at our costs. We have to adjust our costs in order to maximize our profits.
That's a little trickier.
Yes, it is. We'll have to use estimates and educated guesses with some of the costs.
Okay, then what?
Then we adjust costs according to our sales forecasts.
So we might have to look for ways to lower our costs if the sales forecasts are low?
Exactly. And if the forecasts are high, we might be able to increase our spending in some areas.
But only if it will help increase our profits, right?
Of course. That's the general idea of budgeting.
Good morning, Miss Grant.
Good morning. So, how does it look?
Well, there are a few things we need to discuss.
OK, I'm listening.
First of all, there seems to be a problem with the salespeople reporting false sales.
Wow. Are you sure about that?
Yes, completely sure. Just compare your actual revenue to the sales reports.
Why would they do that?
Well, it looks to me like they were trying to get bonuses that they didn't actually earn.
I'm definitely going to look into this further. What else do we need to discuss?
The second thing is about some new equipment you bought a few months ago.
OK. What about it?
You wrote off the purchase price as an expense. It needs to be capitalized.
But, no, I disagree. I think GAAP allows us to expense a few new machines.
I'm sorry, but GAAP requires that you depreciate them through their useful life.
I'm going to have to ask for another opinion on that.
Hi, Lauren. Thanks for the email.
You're welcome. Did it make sense?
Yes, it did. But I have a question. How can I lower my break-even point?
Well, one option is to raise your prices.
How would that lower my break-even point?
Higher prices would mean higher revenue and a larger margin ratio.
Oh, right, I see. A higher margin ratio would lower the break-even point.
Right. Although raising prices sometimes lowers revenue because people aren't willing to pay.
Yeah, I can't do that. I have a lot of competition. I'd lose customers if I raised prices too much.
Okay. Another option is to lower your fixed costs, if you can.
I don't think I can. I mean, how could I get my rent or electric bills lowered?
Yeah, that's not an option for most people.
So are there any other options?
Well, how about trying to lower your variable expenses?
You mean, see if I can find cheaper production methods?
Yes, exactly. That would also raise your margin ratio and lower your break-even point.
I read an interesting accounting article yesterday.
Oh, yeah? What was it about?
Globalization. Some people say there needs to be a uniform set of accounting rules.
You say that like it bothers you.
Well, it does. I mean, I'm worried it could put some people out of business.
What? Are you kidding? It would be so much easier to work with companies from all over the world.
Yes, you're right that it would help large companies expand, but it would hurt smaller businesses.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, a new standardized accounting system would require training and probably new employees.
Yeah, it might cost a little to make the transition. So what?
So small companies don't have as much money. They can't afford it.
Okay, I see your point, but I still think it would be good for business. It might take time for everyone to catch up.
Yeah, and some might never catch up.
You know, it probably doesn't matter what we think anyway.
What do you mean?
Everything is going global. I think it's inevitable.
Wow, unbelievable.
What's wrong?
I'm getting a little frustrated with this new client.
What did he do?
He only likes to communicate in person.
Okay, I do that with a lot of my clients. What's the problem?
The problem is that I'm really busy. I don't have time to meet with him several times a day.
Why don't you try emailing him?
I have, but he won't reply. He just comes to the office and asks to see me.
Yeah, that would be annoying. You know, a few of my clients like to use text messaging. It's really convenient.
I would love to do that, but this client told me he hates text messaging.
Wow, why don't you try to talk by telephone?
I have. He just prefers to talk in person.
Well, you know, in person is the most effective mode of communication.
I know. You can see body language and hear verbal and tonal cues, but it also takes more time.
I guess there's not much you can do about it.
Derek Chapman, can I help you?
Hi, Derek. It's Valerie Harris.
Oh, hi, Valerie. I got your email about the buyout you're considering. Did you get my reply?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay, sure. Did you have some more questions?
Well, no. Honestly, I think you were too conservative in your analysis.
Really? What did you disagree with?
Well, I don't understand why you think political instability would affect our business.
Well, sometimes corporations think if they stay out of the way, politics won't affect them.
That's exactly my point. I mean, we aren't going to make any political statements.
But the thing is, if conflict breaks out, it could end up blocking supply and distribution channels.
Okay, I see your point, but I'm not sure I agree.
Okay, but consider this. Even if I'm wrong about the politics, there's still a problem with debt to equity.
That's true. But what if it's merely due to poor management by the owner?
That's certainly possible. But what if it's because the business isn't viable?
I guess I have to give this some more thought.
Thanks for meeting with me, Will.
No problem, Kathy.
I really need to figure out how to maximise my cash on hand.
Okay, so you need to have more liquidity.
Right. But the thing is, I also need to make a major purchase. Fleet vehicles.
Wow. Yeah, that could wipe out a lot of your cash. What about leasing?
Leasing? No, I don't want to throw money away on lease payments.
Well, I'm not sure you really understand the dynamics of leasing.
What do you mean by that?
I just mean that there are some advantages to leasing.
But if I lease the vehicles, I'd lose their economic value at the end of the lease terms, right?
Yes, that's true. But if you lease, you won't have to pay a down payment.
That's a good point. I mean, that would help me keep more cash on hand.
Exactly. Plus, leasing would protect you from obsolescence.
You mean it would protect me from the vehicles getting old and becoming obsolete?
Right. Your lease term will end before that happens.
This is amazing. Have you heard of Haven Island?
No? What's that?
It's this island territory near South America. They have all kinds of great tax policies.
Really? Like what?
Well, they don't use progressive taxation. Instead, they have a flat tax.
That sounds pretty good. You know, our profits went way up last year, but so did our taxes.
Yeah, it looks like the government of Haven Island is trying to avoid that.
Good for them. What other policies do they have?
Well, I read that they also offer tax breaks to businesses that move there.
Wow. I wonder if we should move there.
I was thinking the same thing.
But you know, I'm not sure that would be ethical.
Why would it not be ethical?
Well, there's a good chance that all our customers would still be here in the UK.
Okay, I still don't see a problem with that.
The problem is that we'll be getting revenue from people here, but not paying any taxes on it.
Brandon Hicks and Associates. Can I help you?
Hi, I'm calling for some information about your company.
Absolutely, ma'am. What services are you looking for?
Well, I need help with my tax situation.
We specialize in tax accounting.
Yes, I saw that in your advertisement. Could you tell me a little more?
Certainly. You should know that we don't outsource any of our work.
So everything is done in-house?
That's correct. And you would be able to speak directly to the CPA working on your files.
Okay, what about privacy? I think my old accountant got my name on some mailing list.
Well, you definitely don't have to worry about that with us. We don't share anything with third parties.
Is there a way I could verify the status of your CPAs?
Yes, ma'am. In fact, we encourage it. All you have to do is check with the accountancy board.
Okay. It's just that I'm in a really complex situation right now.
I understand. I guarantee we can handle it.
Well, I think I'd like to make an appointment.
Hi, Stacey. Did you read that article on globalization?
Yes. You know, I'm a little worried about what it will do to the accounting profession.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I feel that all the standardized rules will make our job tedious and boring.
No, I disagree. Globalization is opening up all kinds of new opportunities for accountants.
I doubt it. We'll still be stuck in back offices punching numbers.
No, really. There are so many new career options available to us.
What kind of options?
Well, for example, a lot of companies are using accountants for things like risk assessment.
Risk assessment? So does that mean they are involved in decision making?
Uh-huh. I'm telling you, globalization is opening a lot of new doors.
Wow, that's great.
And there's more. Mergers, acquisitions, electronic commerce. Accountants do a lot of different things.
But we still won't get to work with people very much, will we?
Actually, accountants are starting to get positions in management.
That's really encouraging. I didn't think I could work up to management as an accountant.